Welcome, maybe welcome back. I'm Tyler from Homegrown Haven Farm, and today I'm going to be walking you through a sunlight salsa. That's what I'm calling it. It is basically just a garden fresh salsa using ingredients that are as bright as they can be. I've tried to choose as many ingredients that were just as brightly colored as I could find. We've got Honey Delight tomatoes, a couple habaneros, an aloha bell pepper, 2 serranos, and some Thai hot chili peppers. I've also got a couple cloves of garlic. This is a green zebra tomato, which just fell off the rack a minute ago, so we're just gonna throw that in. I've also got a bunch of cilantro and a white onion. We did not grow the white onion. We got that from the store. Same with the lime. But everything else, we grew ourselves. We are gonna jar this, we're gonna can this, so if you wanna follow me around, we're just gonna grab some jars over here. Clean jars. Whenever you get jars from the pack, make sure that you clean them beforehand. So you could make this with cherry tomatoes. Really, any tomato would work. I'm just going to take these, slice them right down in half. It'll actually cut. Slice them again, and I'm going to core these just to take out that little bit there. So with the onion, it's not really a big deal because it's all going in the food processor. Anyway, I just like to give them a rough chop, nothing crazy. This 1/4 onion is going to be enough salsa. Is going to be enough for the salsa of these 2 jars. I think any more and it's going to be too oniony.
We typically don't use that much onion.
Yeah.
You could use green onion, as much or as little onion as you personally prefer.
Alright, so we've got our ingredients mixed up that aren't peppers. I did that on purpose because I wanted to try and keep the cutting board free of capsaicin, because this stuff will get all over your hands, especially if you're working with hot peppers like these. It'll get under the beds of your fingernails. It'll burn you for the next couple of days. I'm going to do half a bell pepper here. I'm just going to go in and pull that out.
Could you use any bell pepper for this?
Yeah, you could use any bell pepper, but I specifically chose this one because it was just a bright yellow bell pepper. This would have, if we would have let this go, it would have turned a nice color, a nice shade of red and yellow together. But we just harvested it early. While it's nice and yellow here. I'm just gonna cut this up into a few bits. Nothing really too fine, just a rough chop so that it's all relatively about the same size. Kind of looks like lemons, doesn't it? I'm going to use 2 serranos, and I'm going to have to start being a little more careful because we're moving into the hotter peppers and it only gets hotter from here. And since I'm using a variety of peppers at different heat levels, I'm actually going to remove the seeds here. I like a hot salsa, that's fine. But a seedy salsa, it's not very, I don't like it.
It's just the texture. You could also use jalapenos instead of serranos. They're very similar.
Yeah. The reason why I'm using serranos instead of jalapenos is just because we grew a jalapeno plant this year and we also grew a serrano plant. And the serrano plant did remarkably better than the jalapeno.
This year, I wanted to try the serranos, just out of curiosity. I had heard that they were very similar to jalapenos, and so far we really like them.
I think they're great. They're a great substitute for jalapenos. It really provides a more earthy flavor, I think, more nutty.
Similar heat.
Chop or 2. Our serranos going in. Next up, we got our Thai hot chilies. Now these ones are so small, I'm just gonna leave the seeds in here. We're just gonna here we've got these two just beautiful habaneros here. Look at these.
I believe this is what makes the salsa so good.
Yes, this is why it's called sunlight salsa. Alright, so let's give those a chop. We'll do them just like I did the Serranos. We'll do them in quarters, and that'll make them easier to remove the seeds. And I'm going to be very careful this time around in how I'm touching these, because this is some powerful stuff.
I would recommend wearing gloves when dealing with any hot peppers.
I'm sure there's some viewers from like South America or something who are just like, wear gloves while working with peppers? What is the matter with you? Are you a baby?
I absolutely love the hot peppers, but I do know it can be hard to wash it off your skin once it's on it.
What I'm going to do is just periodically run some water over my hand here. I'm just not even going to play with that. And we'll do those just like the Serranos, give them a rough chop, and then just throw them in. And we're just going to handle these the exact same as the Honey Delights. These look like unripe tomatoes, but this is actually a green variety of tomato called a green zebra, hence the striping there. It's really quite pretty.
Nice and bright.
So we've got everything in there. I need to clean up a bit. The last couple ingredients that I'm going to add are lime and cilantro, but I'm going to wait on adding the cilantro because I don't want to add it directly to the processor here, because I want it to be a fine chop on the cilantro and not just pulverized. So we're going to go ahead and get all of this blended up. Oh, I do want to add some salt and pepper. Might add some more of that later, I don't know. We'll see how it tastes. This Ninja blender is on long-term loan from my parents. This is a very expensive piece of equipment, but you could have used your everyday blender. You could use the single-use blending cups. These things, we use these to make smoothies all the time. Magic Bullet knockoffs. You could just chop this up and call it done. This could technically be a salsa if you just mixed it all around, but my taste, I like it nice and blended. I like a smooth salsa. That's what we're going to do here. Okay, so we let that go for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes or so. Let's take a look at what we got here. That's looking pretty good to me. Everything else is going to be put in later. So what I'm actually going to do now is the most important step in making any of my salsas, and that is we're going to strain the water out of this salsa. It sounds a little counterintuitive, but the reason why we're doing that is because I'm going to replace it with lime juice. So kind of think about that. We're removing the water content of about a lime and then replacing it. I've just got a metal sieve here. So I just give it a few spins like this, and you can see all that water content coming out of the back there. You see how much it's going down already? Look at that. And as I'm doing this, I'm also helping to work out some of that foam that had built up from it being in the food processor. Now that we've gotten the water out, it's starting to look a bit more like salsa, right? Before it kind of looked like orange juice. So I'm going to take this and transfer it into a bowl. So we've got our salsa here. It's looking pretty good. And you might look at this and think that this is like a fruit salsa, and you wouldn't be that wrong. If you wanted to add fruit to this, like mango, maybe some cherries, something like that, that would be excellent. Wouldn't be too far off the flavor at all. So I'm just going to take this cilantro. This is cilantro from our garden, by the way. We grew this ourselves. And I'm just going to give this a rough chop, kind of a fine chop. I'm going to leave the stems in. I don't really care about the stems. Nothing too fancy. Just gonna throw that in. Got our lime over here. Give it a little press. Kind of break down those cell structures, get the juices flowing. So I'm going to use the juice of this whole lime. And I'm pretty sure this is a seedless lime, but just in case, I'm going to sort of run it through my fingers here. And if you get some of that lime flesh in there, that's totally fine. That is going to mix right into the salsa very nicely. And that is basically done. We just need to get that stirred up. Let's take a look at this. Boy, this is looking really good. And the smell, boy, if you could smell this.
It smells really good.
It is really fragrant of cilantro and lime, the habaneros, which smell, those are just giving off a really nice smell.
Everything in the salsa we grew in our garden, with the exception of the onion and the lime.
And we could have grown the onion.
Yeah.
We could have grown the onion.
We
But haven't gotten to those yet.
Do we need to add, you already added salt and pepper too, right?
Yep. It's always salt and pepper to taste. That means that you add salt until you can taste it. And you should always be doing this. Just taste the things that you make as you make them. So, a little bit of that. Fragrant, delicious. Spice that hits you on the way out. Oh, that's good.
Sweet and spicy?
Mm-hmm. Want to try?
Sure. Of course this pregnant lady wants to try the salsa. Woo. Woo. Ooh, that's going to get the baby kicking.
That's the reason why it's called sunlight salsa. Give it one last little stir.
And there you have it. Just a heads up, when you make this salsa, you can eat it fresh and refrigerate it, probably up to a few weeks.
So we've got about maybe 3/4 of a pint worth of our Honey Delight Habanero Sunlight Salsa, which is delicious, super fragrant. That is ready to be canned in a hot water bath and stored for later. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here. If you liked the video, click that thumbs up button. If you really liked it, hit the share button, spread it around. If you want to stay up to date with garden stuff, recipes, projects, woodworking, all that stuff, make sure to subscribe. We do this all the time. It's our favorite thing to do. My name's Tyler from Homegrown Haven Farm.
I'm Lily.
Don't give up. Keep growing. We'll see you guys next time.